At this slumber party, you're gonna need more than condoms for protection. Slumber Party Massacre. Written by Rita Mae Brown and directed by Amy Jones, who turned down a producer's job on, no, a editing job on E.T. So instead of editing E.T., a classic, she directed this. Smart choice. So, 1982. Man, this was the height of the slasher craze, right in the middle of it all. From like 1980 to 84, there was like 100 per year. And this is one of them. And boy, this is interesting. Let's start with the good stuff. What are the good stuff? What's the good things I could say about this? If you're looking for nudity, you're going to find plenty of it, and you would expect it from a movie called Slumber Party Massacre, and you see half-naked chicks right here. So, plenty. You got this whole shower scene, and it really just lingers on their asses, and just them scrubbing their asses with bars of soap, and then they're sharing soap. Disgusting. And then they get to the party, and they're just undressing in front of each other, like, let me borrow your bra. Just completely used to being naked around each other. I'll never understand that. Never in a million years would I get naked in front of all my other classmates. Why? Because we played basketball at gym? Who gives a fuck? I'll wait till I go home, and then I'll take a shower. Why we have to do it now makes no sense to me. But hey, I don't know. Maybe you had to back then. Fuck that. Suspend me. But anyways, just saying, I would never get naked at school. I don't get why people ever did. Just weird. Anyways, yeah, the Blu-ray transfer, pretty good. At the beginning, some black spots here and there. It looked like it could have been cleaned up a little bit more. But overall, this is a good Blu-ray transfer. So it's definitely worth the purchase. If you love this movie and you don't have it on Blu-ray, you need it on Blu-ray. It's definitely a better picture quality. There's some dark humor in this movie. It really works for me. I had a good chuckle here and there. It's just, yeah. And it's an uneven tone, really. Like, I thought this movie was taking itself serious. The first 20 minutes or so, until that slumber party actually starts, it felt like a generic, like, killer stalks this person, kills that person. And then when the party starts, it quickly starts, like, getting more comedic. And, like, a chick's eating a pizza slice off of a dead pizza boy. Things like that. I'm like, oh, so this film knows what it is. It's not taking itself too serious. And then I listened to the director's commentary, and she admitted that the whole thing was supposed to be funny. So they weren't taking themselves serious. But for some reason, that beginning, I didn't get the message pretty up front. Like, they didn't set that tone. Like, this is going to be funny. We're not taking ourselves serious. It felt pretty serious. But I like the score by the director's brother, Ralph Jones. Is that his name? Yep, Ralph Jones. It's very 80s sounding, and I like the synthesizer, piano type score. They use this score a lot throughout, and I like it. It's unique, and I like the choice of weapon. The whole drill, it's basically a metaphor for his dick. He's gonna take these virgins out with his dick drill. He's gonna penetrate them with his dick drill. And then at one point, as if the metaphor wasn't clear enough, the one girl, like, chops it in half, circumcising his drill, chops it off. He looks at it in shame, like, oh, man, it's small. Man. This movie's not long either, so if it's miserable for you, at least it's only 77 minutes long. It's not going to take up your whole afternoon, so yeah. Those are my positives. And the hottest chick in this movie is Linda. There's a handful to choose, but the first one to die is my hottest chick. But yeah, she had to go way too early. It's a shame. And the clapper award for best scene goes to the shower scene where they're all lathering up. Because I'm a pervert. Now for the negatives. This one won't shock anybody. The acting. It's pretty bad. The dialogue. It felt like it was ad-libbed.
The woman gets up her courage and she throws her baby down. And the guy catches it. And like, the crowd is going crazy. And the guy goes, touchdown! Oh, God.
There's a handful of scenes that I can pick out and show you, and you listen to it. It felt like the director was like, all right, I just need you to make up a few lines of dialogue while I pan over here and just make up random shit. Like, their dialogue makes no sense. There's even one line like, are your tits getting bigger? That made me laugh.
You know, I think your tits are getting bigger. Mine?
There's just so much pointless dialogue. There is pointless scenes in this movie. It's just dragging out. It's like, the coach, take her out of the movie. Not needed. Why the fuck is she here? Nothing. She adds to the body count. But they waste time at her house miles away from the slumber party. Miles. And they established that. So why we're even at her house, they're trying to set up this scare. And then they set up a scare over here at this house. And then they set up a scare back at the coach's house. It's like, is the killer here? Is the killer all the way over there? Is the killer at the neighbor's house? This movie is fake out scare after fake out scare after fake out scare. There's at least 20 of them. And one of them is so unnecessary. When the little girl, the sister, who in real life is older than the older sister, that she's pretending to be older, she just is laying on the floor, playing dead in the middle of a garden, in the middle of the night, just trying to scare her sister for the 1,000th time that night. How many times do you think you can scare your sister? It's just jump scare after jump scare. And then one chick, she manages to pull her 200-pound jock boyfriend from a kneeling down position over her shoulders just like that. It was hilarious. I'm like, dude, I couldn't pull that off. There's no fucking way you just did that.
Holy shit. I think you broke my back.
But she can throw her boyfriend over her shoulders, but she can't defend herself against the killer, who's way younger. Well, not younger, scrawnier, and just not, seriously. When it comes to that guy, she just cowers down and just takes it. Whatever. But yeah, this movie, it just feels like they knew they didn't have much of a script, so there's a lot of like ad-libbing, and there's a lot of those fake out scares. For the first 30 to 40 minutes, it is just fake out scare after fake out scare. One woman even gets a door, peephole installed just to have this fake out scare. And I did notice that all the women in this movie, the adults, they all have like these handiwork jobs that you would typically see like men doing in these movies. I thought that was interesting. I'm not saying it's a negative. I was just like, oh, that's interesting. There's a woman, like home improvement person installing the peephole. There's a woman, electrician installing like wires on the building, like doing like electrical work, and she installs telephone lines. I was like, oh, that's interesting. For a movie called Slumber Party Massacre, there's no sex. I thought that was odd. And there's no focus. Like, it doesn't focus on a character or just one set of characters. Like I said, it just jumps from this group to this group to this group, the coach to the neighbors to these people. It just keeps jumping back and forth. It just, by the end of it, I didn't even know, like, so who's the main girl I should be following? I didn't even know. Like, the neighbor, and they, it's just bad dialogue too. Like, did they read their own script? She invites this girl to the slumber party, and she blows her off, like, no, you guys are talking shit about me, I don't want to go there, those girls don't like me. And then later on, they're like, assuming that the neighbor is in on it, and she's working with the bad guy, and they're like, that's an extreme reaction to not being invited to the slumber party. She was invited. We saw that. She fucking said it. It's like, did you read your own script? It makes no sense. But yeah, the main girl, not interesting. These characters, blah. Just, like, it's a mess. These characters are not fun. They're just talking about random ass stuff. At one point, they're talking about, like, I wonder what the score to last night's baseball game was, or something like that. And it's like such an urgent thing. Like, we need to know how that score came to be. So let's call up the coach so she can hear us in distress. And then she'll come here, and then she'll die. And dumbass character decisions. There's one major dumbass character decision that makes no sense, and it's just pure lazy writing. There's the door, killer's upstairs, character sees it. Does she go for the door? No, she goes right down into the basement. Courtney, run! I'm gonna go in the basement and hide. Why? The killer's upstairs, there's the door, just fucking leave. It was so irritating.
I left the burner on.
Will your mom be mad?
I'll have to replace it. It's okay.
So yeah, final thoughts before I go to my spoiler discussion and really point out all the funny, silly things in this film is that it's a very cheesy 80s slasher. If you're just into boobs and a high body count, there's definitely a high body count. There's not a lot of on-screen kills. There's not a lot of gore, but there is some blood. So if you're looking for that, you'll get it. Some nudity. It's just bad acting, bad character decisions, not great dialogue or characters in here. It's just a very, very, very much B horror movie. You know, just that type of like sleepaway camp movie, but not as cheesy as that, but almost at that level. So when it comes to Slumber Party Massacre, maybe if you know who you are and if you're into this type of stuff, check it out at least once at Redbox. Alright, so this movie opens up with boobs right away. This main girl, one of the main girls, like I said, I don't know who's the main girl, but she's one of them. She's the one throwing the party. She gets naked right away in her bedroom. See her tits for like a full-on minute. And then later on we see them more, and then later on we see them even more. Lots of boobage in this film. And then this girl, she's a utility girl, and she just gets killed. Like it starts by saying like, a madman has escaped the mental institution, and he was arrested 15 years ago for blah, blah, blah. He killed 5 people, and now he's gone. I forget his name, but that guy, his acting, this is his first acting gig. His bulgy eyes, like he has his eyes as wide as he can the whole film. He's doing like this peacock thing. The way he walks, he's just like a lion hunting a gazelle or something. Like they're his prey. But he gets the drill from the utility girl, and he drills her off camera. And then for some reason, he throws her body that was already concealed and hidden inside the van that no one was going to touch. Takes it out on school property, risking getting caught early on, throwing it into the dumpster. You could have just left it in the van, and that's that. But he's a risk taker. He is a risk taker. I like that the main girl is throwing away a Barbie doll at 18 years old. Like, now she's too old. I'm 18, Mom. Quit treating me like a child. Throws away her Barbie doll, and then the Barbie doll comes into play later, like, way later. Like, we even see the killer take the doll. So he's been stalking her before he ever killed his first victim. Why he's choosing them, I don't know. I guess at the end, he's like, I love you.
Please don't do this.
I love you.
That's his motivation. I love you, which I heard he made up on set. He created that motivation. Doesn't work, but oh well. But yeah, the installing the peephole scene, that's funny, not scary. Was it supposed to be scary? It's pretty funny. Oh, it's just installing your peephole, and then she leaves without installing it. She just drills a hole in her door and walks away. But then I think, like in one of the shots, there was a peephole, but she didn't install it. She just chopped a hole right through and then left. So now bugs and the cold air can just seep on through and get in her house. That's not good handiwork, ma'am. You need to get back and finish your job. Who the fuck throws a cat in their closet? I'm so sick of this jump scare. This is one of the many scares in this movie. The coach, who for some reason we're focusing on, she's in her kitchen with all these knives, and she picks up a shard of glass because she's a clumsy idiot. She breaks the glass, and she uses that as her weapon to go see what the noise is. Ooh. Instead of the 40 knives. Like, I'm sure there's plenty of weapons in there. She was in the kitchen. Like I said, so many dumb little things I could point out, and that's one of them. But a big one is the cat in the closet. She has a cat on the top shelf, way up. How the hell did it climb up there? Makes no sense. That irritates me. It's just like Halloween 2. Who throws their cat away in the dumpster? Behind a hospital. That's fucking cruel. But yeah, her character's completely unnecessary. Why is she even in here? The neighbor is creepy as hell. She's 18. Why does she even need a neighbor to like keep an eye out on her? Mr. Contact. His name's Contact, I believe. And he likes to chop snails with a meat cleaver. And he claims he has a very good track record of killing them with meat cleavers. He's like, I'm at 52 now. And then he goes to get like another snail, like here's 53.
54.
And it's just set up to be this dumb, again, fake out scare when the one chick's getting logs, I guess, for a fire that they never build. At least I didn't see. And there's a snail, scare. Meat cleaver, scare. Oh, the neighbor's just really fond of killing snails with a meat cleaver. And then he just gets drilled right through the throat. And then that doll from the beginning of the movie, it's like meat cleaver to the wall. How the hell did they not hear that? She was right by the window. And then, boom, she turns around. There's a meat cleaver and doll just chopped right into the wall. She would have heard that. She would have heard that. I like when the pizza guy arrives and they call for pizza, but the pizza guy's dead before he ever really gets there. And they're like, what's the damage? And he's like, 6 so far. Referring to his body count. Wow. So he's got like, I guess he drilled him through both eyes with the drill. Pretty awesome stuff right there. Off-screen kill, but it's pretty funny. But then the one chick's like eating the pizza off of the pizza guy. Like, what? I'm hungry. He's dead. He won't mind. They go to fix the fuse, and the boys are scaring them. There's another scare. The boys are scaring them. They take their fuses, and then, yeah, it's just a dumb scare. And then she's like putting a hot dog wiener on his face to like help his bruise, thinking that's gonna work. Will it work? Putting a hot dog wiener on your face, like that'll help your bruise. And then they're eavesdropping on this one girl's conversation with her boyfriend, and she's like, am I getting better? I would love to know what she's referring to.
I love it too. Do you think I'm getting better? Shh, hold on. I think our First Amendment's been violated.
Is she referring to blowjobs? Because she like goes outside to have sex with her boyfriend, and then she is like, we're gonna get caught, and they're in the garage of the house, and it's like, you're gonna get caught? Well, you're in the car, just leave. You're not handcuffed to the slumber party. Just leave. If you really want to go fuck your boyfriend and get better at whatever it is that you are concerned about getting better at, just leave. But she's like, I gotta go back inside and like ask permission to leave the slumber party that I attended by my own free will. Just leave. And then she gets back into the car like, ooh, that was a bitch, but it's done. It's like, it shouldn't have been a bitch. All you gotta do is be like, hey, I'm leaving the slumber party because I want to go fuck my boyfriend. Adios. But she acts like it's a major sin to leave that slumber party. Like she broke some contract. But she gets back in the car and she like grabs her boyfriend and his head just falls right off. That's something we've seen time and time again. But this was early 80s. This was probably the first time it ever happened. Freddy vs. Jason comes to mind. So he was going to get head, but he got beheaded. Now she's got head. Weird, there's a pun in there somewhere, but I failed. I failed to make a joke. Yeah, the pizza guy is dead. They call the coach about a score. What was the score to that baseball game? And then they get attacked. And so then the coach drives there. And then when she arrives, she hits the bad guy with a flimsy ass fire poker. It's just funny when you see it. It's like, wow, that's a fake prop. But then one of the main girls goes to stab the bad guy, and I hate this when it happens in movies. She stabs him, and then she goes to stab him again, but what's the coach do? She grabs her away, like, no! I'm gonna save you from yourself. Fuck off. She's gonna save you. But then she just gets her stomach sliced open by the drill, and at that point, I'm like, you deserve it for doing that. Like, why did you stop her? And where does she stab him? Obviously, nowhere lethal. This movie kind of like imitates Friday the 13th with like bodies that fall into frame. Like literally, the girl that gets drilled with the iconic shot like in between the legs, the drill representing his dick, just gets her, and then like later on, her body just falls into frame like she's Steve Christie, just hanging there. I don't know where the hell she's hanging from. The killer likes to hide his bodies in weird places. There's even one scene where we actually get to see him do it. It's so weird. Like, I can see now why they never show you the killer hiding the bodies, because it just looks weird. But in this one, you get to see it. He just grabs the pizza boy, opens up the basement door, and throws his body down. For what reason, I don't know. He knows there's other people around to go kill. Why is he wasting his time with that shit? But yeah, then the two girls, they barricade themselves upstairs, and he like sneaks in through the window, and then he stabs the one girl, and then the other girl like knocks him out with the baseball bat, and then drops it like Laurie Strode. When are you gonna learn? I like the circular saw joke. This is when it's like, oh, this movie's definitely not taking itself serious. There's all these weapons, and this chick chooses a circular saw that you have to plug in, and she's all the way down in the basement, and she just goes charging up the stairs with the circular saw buzzing, and she gets to the top, and it's like too far, and like she ricochets back and it unplugs. She's like, oh, I guess I should get a different weapon that doesn't need to be plugged in, duh. Oh, I like how the killer never wonders who tripped him. Like, before he kills the coach, the little girl underneath the couch, she trips him, and that's how like the coach gets the upper hand for a moment. And after he kills her and like starts attacking the other girls, like he never like wonders who the fuck tripped me. Okay, so the neighbors go next door, and they see a puddle of blood and a bloody smear down the door, and I think they say something like, "Well, nothing's going on around here. Maybe we should just go back home." Like they didn't, like nothing's going on. This party's dead, pun intended. Let's go home. Like, you didn't see anything? Like, you're not curious about the blood you just encountered? So I thought that scene was very odd. Like, she didn't know it was blood. What did she think it was? Okay. I like when the two guys, they come up with this plan. They're like, we should split up. You go out the back door, I'll go up the front door. One of us will die, but at least one of us will make it.
Maybe we should split up. One of us will make it, even if the other one doesn't.
Verbatim, that's like what they say. Like, hey, maybe one of us will make it, and the other one will just die and sacrifice themselves. But then they both die. So hilarious. And then, yeah, finally, the one girl with the circular saw, she gets the machete, like Jason. And then she just hacks his hand off. She hacks the drill in half. She hacks his stomach wide open. He falls in the pool, but then he comes back for one last scare. Then all the chicks just gain up on him, and then he like goes to like dive on top of her, and then she pulls the machete out, and he just falls on it like Tucker and Dale versus Evil, those dumbass kids. Just falls on his own weapon, or I guess it was her weapon. But yeah, his death is the most brutal and the most bloody of them all. And is there anything else I write? That the cops, as the movie's like fading to black, the cop sirens start going off. Like the cops are just now arriving. Like, oh, here they come. As it's all already over. That's another like horror movie trope. Is like the cops arrive when the dust is settled and the bad guy's dead, or everyone else is dead and it's too late. That's just another trope, and they play right into it. Oh, here's another dumb thing I want to point out, and it happens earlier on in the movie. I cannot let this slide. So Mr. Contact is supposed to make sure that these girls don't get into trouble. And he clearly sees them bring weed, Maui Wowie, as they refer to it, and all kinds of booze. And he lets that shit slide because he accidentally scared the main girl.
Trish, I won't tell if you don't let your parents know I scared you to death. Okay?
Really? That's it? Like, I'm so sorry I scared you. What? That's so dumb. So yeah, the best kill in this movie definitely goes to Russ, the bad guy, who gets his stomach sliced open, his hand chopped off, drowned a little bit, and then he got completely impaled through the stomach with a machete. And the worst kill goes to Kim, who gets stabbed in the stomach and quickly bleeds to death, and then gets her body stuffed in the refrigerator later on, just to be a joke. And those are my thoughts on Slumber Party Massacre. What did you think about this one? Are you a fan of the second and third one? I heard those go a completely different route, like supernatural-ish, like almost like a Nightmare on Elm Street. I heard there's like dreams, and there's like a guitar thing. I haven't seen them, and they're very hard to come across. They're out of print, I think, so I won't be reviewing part 2 or 3 anytime soon, so don't be looking out for that. So I can't access it. I don't have like Amazon Prime or anything, so I can't rent it. So yeah, this will be the only one that I review as of now. So those are my thoughts on Slumber Party Massacre. Thank you so much for joining me tonight. Hit this like button to show your support, and you can become a subscriber today just by clicking on my cartoon face in about 5 seconds. And until next time, Auf Wiedersehen.